The call from the stars. The holographic display flickered as Commander Vanessa Reeves studied the irregular pulse pattern detected by Jupiter Listening Post's Deep Space Array. Rain drummed against the reinforced dome overhead, the artificial weather system calibrated to remind the station's personnel of Earth. But Reeves barely noticed. For 3 years, she had commanded this remote outpost, watching the endless void for signs of anything beyond humanity's solar system. Tonight, that patience had been rewarded. "How long has this signal been coming in, Lieutenant?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the display. Lieutenant Darius Okafor, the night shift communications specialist, checked his readings. "Almost 43 minutes, Commander. It doesn't match any known pattern in our database." "And definitely not natural?" Reeves asked, though she already knew the answer. The pattern was too regular, too deliberate. "No way," Okafor confirmed. "This is artificial. Someone built a transmitter and aimed it right at our solar system." The door to the monitoring chamber slid open as Dr. Nathan Way, the station's xenolinguistics expert, hurried in. His eyes were wide with excitement behind his glasses. "Is it true? We have first contact." "We have something," Reeves said cautiously. "The AI is still working on translation protocols." Dr. Way joined them at the console, immediately plugging his tablet into the system. "Let me see the raw data." Reeves stepped back, watching as Way and Okafor worked. The significance of the moment wasn't lost on her. Humanity had sent probes and signals into deep space for over a century, hoping for a response. Now, on her watch, that hope had materialized. "It's repeating on a 6-minute cycle," Way murmured. "There's a mathematical sequence at the beginning primes, if I'm not mistaken." "Universal language." The station's AI chimed in, its voice calm and measured. "Translation attempt at 38% confidence. Signal appears to be a distress call." Reeves straightened. "Distress? Are you certain?" "Confidence increasing to 52%, the AI replied. "Signal contains recurring patterns consistent with emergency protocols. Translation suggests help, danger, invasion. Coordinates follow." Way's fingers flew across his tablet. "It's giving us a star map. Look." He pulled up a 3-dimensional projection of a star system nearly 40 light-years from Earth. "These coordinates are precise. They want us to find them. Or it's a trap," Lieutenant Okafor said quietly. Reeves studied the projection. "Either way, this goes up the chain immediately. Give me a direct line to Admiral Zhao at Earth Defense Command." Within hours, Jupiter Listening Post buzzed with activity as specialists from across the solar system arrived through the Quantum Gate network. The signal, now dubbed the Whisper, continued its regular broadcast, and with each repetition, the translation grew clearer. Admiral Julian Zhao arrived personally, his weathered face grave as he joined Reeves in her office. "Tell me everything, Commander." Reeves pulled up the latest translation on her screen. "The message is from a species called the Zalari. Their home system is under attack by something called the Kraxan Empire. They've been broadcasting distress calls in all directions for nearly a year, Earth time." "And how did they find us?" Zhao asked, his voice carefully neutral. "They didn't target us specifically," Reeves explained. "They cast a wide net, but their technology is advanced enough that they detected our radio emissions from decades ago. They know we're here, and they're asking for help." Zhao leaned back in his chair. "What do we know about these Zalari?" Dr. Way entered, carrying a data tablet. "Their message includes basic biological and cultural information. They're oxygen breathers, carbon-based. Physically, they appear fragile by our standards, evolved on a low-gravity world with minimal environmental pressures." "And these Kraxan?" "Less information," Way admitted. "But the Zalari describe them as a militaristic species that has conquered multiple star systems. They're stronger than the Zalari, but still evolved in what they call stable environments." Yao's eyes narrowed. "Meaning?" "Meaning, sir," Reeves interjected, "that both species would consider Earth a death world. Our gravity, atmospheric pressure, temperature extremes, and natural disasters would be lethal to them. The Zalari data classifies planets on a 12-point scale of habitability. Earth is a 12, the most extreme. And that makes us Deathworlders," Way added, excitement creeping into his voice. "Beings that evolved under conditions other species consider impossible." Admiral Zhao stood and walked to the viewport, staring out at Jupiter's swirling clouds. "You realize what you're suggesting, Commander? That we intervene in an interstellar conflict between species we've never met, 40 light-years from Earth." "I'm presenting the facts, sir," Reeves said carefully. "The decision is above my pay grade." Zhao turned back, his expression determined. The Security Council meets in 6 hours. You're coming with me, Commander. Bring everything you have on these Solari. The United Earth Security Council chamber in Geneva was filled to capacity. Representatives from every nation and colony stood as Admiral Zhao entered with Commander Reeves and Dr. Wei. At the center of the chamber, a holographic projection displayed the Zolari message, now translated into multiple Earth languages. Our defenses have fallen. Our outer colonies are lost. The Kraxan fleet surrounds our homeworld. We plead for assistance from any space-faring civilization that values peace. We offer knowledge, resources, alliance, anything in exchange for aid. Without intervention, our species faces extinction within one planetary cycle. The Council President, a stern-faced woman named Director Ekaterina Volkov, called the meeting to order. Admiral Zhao, your assessment. Zhao stepped forward. The signal appears genuine. We have verified the coordinates and detected energy signatures consistent with large-scale space combat in that region. If the Zolari data is accurate, their civilization is advanced but peaceful. The Kraxan are conquerors who have already taken multiple systems. And you believe we should intervene? Asked the Chinese representative. I believe we should investigate, Zhao replied carefully. Earth Defense Fleet has the capability to reach the Zolari system using our experimental FTL drives. A small task force could assess the situation without committing to full military action. The debate raged for hours. Some argued that humanity should focus on its own problems, the ongoing climate recovery, the resource disputes between Earth and the Mars colonies. Others pointed to humanity's history of ignoring genocide until it was too late. Throughout it all, Commander Reeves stood silently beside Admiral Zhao, watching as humanity's leaders wrestled with their first interstellar moral dilemma. Finally, Director Volkov called for a vote. The result was narrow but clear. Earth would respond to the Zolari distress call. 3 weeks later, Commander Reeves stood on the bridge of the EDF Horizon, Earth's newest and most advanced warship. Around them, 9 other vessels formed the Earth Expeditionary Force, the first human fleet to deliberately leave the solar system. Captain Marcus Ortega, the Horizon's commanding officer, joined her at the viewport. Engineering reports the FTL drive is charged and ready. Jump calculations are locked in. Reeves nodded, watching as the crew performed their final checks. These men and women represented Earth's finest, multinational, multidisciplinary, and prepared to face the unknown. The Admiral's ship is signaling, she noted as lights flashed on the flagship Intrepid. This is Admiral Zhao to all vessels, came the transmission. We are about to embark on humanity's first mission beyond our solar system. Our purpose is clear, to answer a call for help, to assess the situation facing the Zolari people, and to represent Earth with honor and courage. What we find may change our understanding of the universe forever. He paused, and Reeves could feel the weight of history pressing down upon them all. The Zolari and Kraxan know nothing of Earth except our transmissions. They call us Deathworlders, creatures from a planet so harsh that it should not support intelligent life. They fear our strength, our resilience, our adaptability. Today, we will show them that beings from a death world can also bring life. All ships, prepare for FTL jump on my mark. The countdown began. Reeves gripped the railing as the Horizon's powerful engines hummed beneath her feet. Around the ship, space itself seemed to bend and distort as the FTL drive engaged. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Execute. In a flash of brilliant blue light, the Earth fleet vanished from the solar system, racing toward a distant star where an unknown species waited in desperate hope for salvation. 5 days later, the fleet emerged at the edge of the Zolari system. The bridge crew of the Horizon gasped as the main view screen activated, showing them their first glimpse of an alien civilization and the massive fleet that held it hostage. The Zolari homeworld was a beautiful blue-green sphere, smaller than Earth and orbiting a yellow star not unlike Sol. But surrounding the planet was a ring of massive warships, angular and predatory in design, the Kraxan blockade. Multiple contacts, reported Lieutenant Commander Prishakor, the tactical officer. I count 67 Kraxan vessels in blockade formation. Energy readings suggest weapons hot. Any sign of Zolari ships? Reeves asked. Scattered readings consistent with the specifications in their message, Kor replied. Most appear damaged or disabled. There's a cluster of smaller vessels hiding in the asteroid belt, possibly refugees. Captain Ortega studied the tactical display. They haven't noticed us yet. The FTL exit was clean. and were masked by the system's outer planet. Admiral Zhao's face appeared on the communication screen. All ships maintain position and passive scanning only. Commander Reeves, attempt to establish contact with any Zolari vessels. Reeves moved to the communication station. Broadcast on the frequencies specified in the Zolari message. Use their first contact protocol. Minutes passed in tense silence before a flickering response appeared on the screen. The image cleared to reveal a being unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Tall and willowy with iridescent skin that seemed to pulse with internal light. Its large, multifaceted eyes widened as it took in the image of the human bridge crew. "You came," the Zolari said, its voice translated by the ship's AI. "You are Earth beings? Deathworlders. I am Commander Vanessa Reeves of the United Earth Defense Fleet," Reeves replied, keeping her voice calm and measured. "We received your distress call and have come to offer assistance." The Zolari's skin pulsed rapidly with blue-green light. An emotional response, Reeves guessed. "I am Zenith, last speaker of the Zolari Council. We had almost lost hope. The Kraxan have destroyed our defensive fleet. They demand our unconditional surrender and integration into their empire." "How many of your people remain?" Admiral Zhao asked, joining the conversation. "Our homeworld holds 9 billion souls," Zenith replied. 2 billion more are scattered across our system in habitats and outposts. The Kraxan care nothing for civilian casualties. They have already destroyed several of our orbital cities. Reeves studied the aliens' delicate features, noting the fear and exhaustion evident even across species barriers. "We need to understand what we're facing. Can you tell us more about the Kraxan? Their capabilities, weaknesses?" Zenith's light dimmed slightly. "They are warriors from a harsh world, though nothing like yours. Their technology is similar to ours, but they have devoted it entirely to conquest. Their ships are heavily armored, their weapons designed to cause maximum destruction. And they've never encountered humans before," Captain Ortega said. "No spacefaring species has ever emerged from a Class 12 world before," Zenith replied. "When we detected your radio signals decades ago, many believed them to be errors in our equipment. Life should not be possible in such conditions, yet you have not only survived, but thrived." Admiral Zhao stepped forward. "Speaker Zenith, we have come to help, but our force is small compared to the Kraxan fleet. We need time to assess and plan. Time is the one resource we lack." "Admiral," Zenith replied, desperation evident. "The Kraxan ultimatum expires in 3 cycles, what you would call days. After that, they will begin planetary bombardment." Reeves felt a cold resolve settling over her. 40 light-years from Earth, humanity faced its first test as a galactic species. How they responded would define their place among the stars for generations to come. "Speaker Zenith," she said firmly, "tell us everything you know about the Kraxan fleet. Their formations, their command structure, their communication protocols. If Deathworlders have come this far to help, we won't let your people die without a fight." As the Zolari began transmitting tactical data, Reeves caught Captain Ortega's eye. The captain nodded slightly, his expression grim but determined. They both knew what was coming, humanity's first interstellar battle, against an enemy that had no idea what they were about to face. Creatures from a world so deadly that mere survival had made them the most dangerous species in this corner of the galaxy. Wrath of the Deathworlders. The Kraxan command vessel subjugator loomed over the Zolari homeworld like a predator contemplating its wounded prey. From his throne-like command chair, High Commander Drazik observed the orbital blockade with cold satisfaction. His scaled skin gleamed under the harsh bridge lighting as he reviewed the surrender terms one final time. 2 cycles remain before our ultimatum expires, reported Subcommander Vex, his second-in-command. The Zolari continue to request extensions. They claim to be considering our generous terms. Drazik's mouth curved into what passed for a smile among his species. They stall for time while their remaining ships attempt to evacuate their leadership. Predictable. "Shall we tighten the blockade further?" Vex asked. "No need," Drazik replied. "Let them waste fuel. When the deadline passes, we will Commander," the sensor officer interrupted, his voice sharp with alarm. Unknown vessels detected at the system's edge. Drazik rose from his chair, irritation flashing across his features. "Zolari reinforcements?" "Negative, Commander. Configuration doesn't match any known species in our database. 10 vessels, smaller than our capital ships, but heavily armed. The main viewer activated, showing magnified images of the Earth fleet. Drazik studied the unfamiliar designs with narrowed eyes. Hail them. Let us see who dares interfere with Kraxan business. Minutes later, the bridge of the subjugator fell silent as Admiral Zhao's image appeared on the screen. The Kraxan officers stared at the human with a mixture of confusion and contempt. I am Admiral Julian Zhao of the United Earth Defense Fleet, Zhao announced, his voice steady and authoritative. We have responded to a distress call from the Zalari people. We demand you cease your aggressive actions against their civilization immediately. Drazik recovered quickly from his surprise. Earth? I know of no such world or species. This conflict does not concern you, stranger. The Zalari have resources and technology the Kraxan Empire requires. Their surrender is inevitable. We disagree, Zhao replied calmly. We propose negotiations instead. A peaceful resolution benefits everyone. Drazik laughed, a harsh sound that revealed rows of pointed teeth. You have courage, unknown one, but your fleet is small and far from home. This is your only warning. Leave this system now, or be destroyed with the Zalari. When the transmission ended, Subcommander Vex approached Drazik's chair. Should we divert ships to intercept them? Send 12 vessels, Drazik ordered. These newcomers will serve as an excellent example to the Zalari of the futility of resistance. On the bridge of the horizon, Commander Reeves watched the tactical display as 12 Kraxan warships broke formation and accelerated toward the Earth fleet. They're taking the bait, Captain Ortega noted with grim satisfaction. Just as you predicted. Admiral Zhao's voice came through the comm system. All ships, implement Operation Thunderbolt. Horizon and Athena teams, prepare for your mission. Reeves turned to the bridge crew. You know what to do? Let's show these Kraxan what happens when they threaten a species under human protection. As the Kraxan battle group approached, the Earth fleet suddenly split into 3 smaller formations. The maneuver caught the Kraxan off guard. They had expected the smaller force to cluster defensively. Their formation is breaking apart, Subcommander Vex reported to Drazik, confusion evident in his voice. They're scattering? Cowards, Drazik sneered. They flee before we even engage. But the Earth ships weren't fleeing. As the Kraxan vessels pursued the largest group of human ships, the Horizon and the Athena accelerated at maximum thrust, swinging around the system's gas giant in a slingshot maneuver that put them on a direct course for the Zalari homeworld. In the lightly defended rear of the Kraxan blockade, Lieutenant Commander Kor monitored the tactical situation from her station on the horizon. Kraxan pursuit fleet has taken the bait. They're fully committed to chasing Admiral Zhao's decoy group. And our stealth systems? Captain Ortega asked. Functioning perfectly, Kor confirmed. The gas giant's radiation belt is masking our approach, just as Dr. Wei predicted. Reeves studied the holographic display showing their planned insertion point. The Zalari data was accurate. There's a gap in the Kraxan sensor network here, between these 2 destroyer-class vessels. A gap we can exploit for exactly 4 minutes and 38 seconds, Ortega added. After that, their sensor sweep will detect us. Reeves nodded, checking the mission timer on her wrist display. Then we'd better be quick. All hands, prepare for high-G maneuvers. The Horizon and Athena accelerated to attack speed, their advanced engines pushing them to velocities that would have crushed the occupants of most alien vessels. Even with inertial dampeners at maximum, the human crews felt the pressure building as the ships hurtled toward their target. 3 minutes to sensor gap, Kor announced, her voice strained under the G-forces. Reeves activated the ship-wide comm. This is Commander Reeves to all personnel. Remember your training. We're about to show the Kraxan why humans are called Deathworlders. As the 2 Earth ships slipped through the gap in the Kraxan blockade, alarm klaxons blared on the subjugator's bridge. Intruder alert, the sensor officer shouted. 2 enemy vessels have penetrated the blockade. They're on approach to the capital city. Drazik slammed his fist onto his armrest. Impossible. How did they evade our sensors? Unknown, Commander, but they're moving faster than any Zalari ship. Approaching orbital defense platforms now. Target them with everything we have. Drazik roared. And recall our pursuit force immediately. But the Earth ships were already executing the next phase of their plan. As Kraxan weapons locked onto them, the Horizon and Athena released hundreds of small, maneuverable drones that swarmed toward the orbital platforms. The drones, designed to exploit the weakness in Kraxan shield technology that the Zalari had identified, attached themselves to key systems and detonated in precisely coordinated sequences. One by one, the orbital platforms went dark, their weapon systems disabled without destroying the structures themselves or the Kraxan personnel aboard them. Direct hit on primary power nodes, Core reported as the horizon shook from a glancing blow. 15 platforms neutralized. Shields holding at 82%. Captain Ortega nodded in satisfaction. Commence Phase 2. Deploy the drop ships. From the horizon's launch bay, four heavily armored vessels shot toward the planet's surface, each carrying a squad of Earth's elite combat specialists. The drop ships, designed to withstand atmospheric entry under fire, corkscrewed through the gaps in the Kraxan defense network, their heat shields glowing as they plunged toward the coordinates provided by Speaker Zenith. Reeves watched their descent on the tactical display. All dropships have cleared the orbital defenses. ETA to Zalari capital, 6 minutes. The Kraxan aren't giving up easily, Ortega noted as the view screen showed enemy interceptors rising from surface bases to meet the human forces. They're about to learn a painful lesson about human combat doctrine, Reeves replied. On the surface of the Zalari homeworld, Speaker Zenith and the remnants of the Zalari Council watched in amazement as the human drop ships landed in the central plaza of their besieged capital city. The ship's hatches opened, and for the first time, Zalari civilians saw humans in person, the Deathworlders who had traveled 40 light-years to fight for them. Major Hiroshi Tanaka, commander of the Earth Special Forces team, stepped forward, his armored exosuit making him appear even more imposing to the fragile Zalari. Behind him, 24 soldiers deployed in defensive positions, their weapons tracking the approaching Kraxan interceptors. Speaker Zenith, Tanaka said, his helmet translating his words, "We're here to escort you and your leadership to safety. Admiral Zhao sends his regards." Zenith's skin pulsed with blue light. Hope, Tanaka had been briefed. "Major, we are grateful, but the Kraxan ground forces surround the city. There is no escape." Tanaka's helmet retracted, revealing his face to the alien leader. "With respect, Speaker, you haven't seen humans fight before. We specialize in the impossible." As if on cue, the first Kraxan assault vehicles crested the ridge overlooking the city. Their commanders had expected to find cowering Zalari, not armored humans with weapons they had never encountered before. Major Tanaka turned to his team. "Remember your orders. Non-lethal takedowns when possible. We're here to make a point, not start a genocide." "Yes, sir," his soldiers responded in unison, their training kicking in as they activated their exosuits' combat protocols. What followed would be remembered in Zalari history as the miracle of Luminous Square. 25 humans, moving with speed and strength that seemed supernatural to both Zalari and Kraxan alike, engaged an enemy force that outnumbered them 20-1. The Kraxan, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with superior strength and numbers, found themselves outmatched by beings evolved on a world 3 times as harsh as their own. Human soldiers leaped distances the Kraxan thought impossible, shrugged off impacts that would have killed their own troops, and fought with a controlled ferocity that left the invaders stunned and retreating. From orbit, Commander Reeves watched the battle unfold through the helmet cameras of Tanaka's team. "They're doing it," she whispered. "They're actually pushing the Kraxan back." Captain Ortega nodded, pride evident in his expression. "And Admiral Zhao's group has engaged the Kraxan pursuit force. They weren't expecting our ships to turn and fight." The bridge tactical officer interrupted with urgent news. "Commander, the Kraxan flagship is breaking blockade formation. They're moving to engage us directly." Reeves straightened. This was the moment they had been waiting for, the opportunity to confront High Commander Drazik himself. "Inform Major Tanaka that Phase 3 is commencing. Captain, prepare for close engagement with the subjugator." On the Kraxan flagship, Drazik watched in growing rage as reports of defeats poured in from all fronts. His pursuit force was being outmaneuvered by ships that should have been technically inferior. His ground troops were retreating from a handful of enemy soldiers. And now, most infuriating of all, the 2 enemy vessels that had breached his blockade were holding position, as if inviting him to attack them personally. "These humans," he spat the unfamiliar word. "They mock us. Bring all weapons to bear on those ships. I want them destroyed." Subcommander Vex hesitated. "Sir, our analysis suggests their technology incorporates elements we haven't encountered before. Perhaps we should. Are you questioning my orders?" Drazik snarled. "The Empire has conquered 12 systems. We will not be defied by primitives from some unknown death world." As the subjugator moved to engage, the Horizon and Athena executed a pincer maneuver that caught the larger vessel between them. Earth's ships were smaller but more agile, their systems designed for combat in the extreme conditions of the solar system's outer reaches. Fire disruptor arrays, Reeves ordered as the Horizon came alongside the Kraxan flagship. Target their shield generators and propulsion systems. Avoid reactor cores. The battle that followed was brief but intense. The Kraxan vessel, for all its size and firepower, found itself unable to track the faster human ships as they darted around it, striking with surgical precision at critical systems. Within minutes, the subjugator drifted powerless, its weapons disabled and life support systems running on emergency power. "We have them," Captain Ortega announced. "Their shields are down, and we have a clear transport lock on their command center." Reeves nodded. "Major Tanaka, are you in position?" From the surface, Tanaka's voice came through clearly. "Affirmative, Commander. The Zalari leadership is secure, and we've pushed the Kraxan forces back beyond the city perimeter." "Good work, Major. Stand by for Phase 4. Reeves turned to the tactical officer. "Initiate transport. Bring their commander aboard." Minutes later, High Commander Drazik found himself in the Horizon's conference room, surrounded by armed human guards. His massive frame dwarfed the furniture designed for human use. But for the first time in his long career of conquest, Drazik felt small. Commander Reeves entered, flanked by Captain Ortega and Dr. Wei. She took a seat across from the Kraxan leader, meeting his glare without flinching. "High Commander," she began, "your blockade has been broken. Your ground forces are in retreat, and the rest of your fleet is currently engaged with our main battle group. I suggest we discuss terms." Drazik's scaled skin darkened with rage. "You dare to dictate terms to the Kraxan Empire? Who are you to interfere in our rightful conquest?" "We are humans," Reeves replied simply. "From Earth, a world so harsh that your scientists would consider it uninhabitable. We evolved under crushing gravity and toxic atmospheres, through ice ages and meteor impacts and thousands of predators. Our history is written in survival against impossible odds." She leaned forward. "But we also evolved compassion, High Commander. The ability to recognize suffering and the desire to alleviate it. When the Zalari called for help, we answered not because we sought conquest or resources, but because it was right." "Weakness," Drazik spat. "Sentiment is weakness." "Is it?" Reeves asked. "Look around you. Your flagship disabled. Your forces retreating. Your blockade broken. All by a species you didn't know existed until today." She paused, letting the reality sink in. "This was a small fraction of Earth's fleet, Commander. A scouting party, essentially. Imagine what would happen if we decided your empire represented a threat requiring our full attention." For the first time, uncertainty flickered in Drazik's reptilian eyes. Dr. Wei stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "We've analyzed your ship's database, Commander. Your empire controls 12 star systems, impressive by local standards. Earth has diplomatic and trade relations with 17 colonies across our own system alone. We've terraformed worlds you would consider uninhabitable." Captain Ortega added, "And unlike you, we don't seek to conquer. We're offering you a choice. Withdraw from Zalari space peacefully, or face the full consequences of having humanity as an enemy." Drazik's gaze shifted between the three humans, his tactical mind rapidly recalculating. "And if we withdraw? What then?" "Then we establish diplomatic relations," Reeves said, "with both the Kraxan and the Zalari. We introduce ourselves properly to this region of space, as neighbors rather than conquerors or saviors. Trade, cultural exchange, mutual defense, all possibilities." "You would treat with us after this?" Drazik asked, genuine confusion in his voice. "Humans have fought countless wars among ourselves," Reeves explained. "We've learned that lasting peace comes not from domination but from respect and mutual interest. Your empire is expansionist because it needs resources. We can help you find better ways to acquire them." For a long moment, Drazik was silent, weighing his options with the cold calculation that had made him the Kraxan Empire's supreme military commander. Finally, he straightened in his chair. "I will order a general withdrawal from Zalari space," he announced. "Not out of fear," he added quickly, "but in recognition of changing strategic realities. The Kraxan Empire acknowledges humanity as a significant power." Reeves nodded, understanding the face-saving gesture for what it was. "A wise decision, Commander. We'll arrange for your return to your vessel once the withdrawal begins." 3 days later, Commander Reeves stood with Speaker Zenith in the Zalari Council chamber, watching through the crystal dome as the last Kraxan ships departed the system. The chamber was filled with Zolari officials, their skin glowing with colors that Dr. Wei had identified as joy and relief. "My people owe you a debt we can never repay," Zenith said, its melodious voice carrying through the chamber. "When we sent our distress call into the void, we never imagined it would be answered by Deathworlders, by humans. We answered because it was right," Reeves replied, echoing her words to Drazik. "And because your call reached us at a moment when humanity was ready to look beyond our own system." Admiral Zhao, who had arrived with the main fleet after the Kraxan withdrawal began, stepped forward. "Speaker Zenith, the United Earth government has authorized me to propose a formal alliance between our peoples. The first of its kind between Earth and another star system." Zenith's skin pulsed with bright blue light. "We would be honored, Admiral. The Zolari have much to learn from humans, not just about technology and warfare, but about courage and principle. And we have much to learn from you," Zhao replied. "Your art, your science, your perspective as a species that evolved under gentler conditions than our own. This is the beginning of a new era for both our peoples." As the formal proceedings continued, Reeves slipped away to a quiet balcony overlooking the Zolari capital. The alien city was beautiful in the planet's soft light, its architecture flowing and organic in a way that human cities were not. Captain Ortega joined her, handing her a cup of coffee from their dwindling supplies. "Quite a view," he remarked. "Hard to believe we were in combat here just days ago. Hard to believe we're 40 light-years from Earth," Reeves added. "First contact, first interstellar battle, first alien alliance, all in less than 2 weeks. The start of something big," Ortega agreed. "The Kraxan will spread word about us. Soon every species in this sector will know about the Deathworlders who intervened to save the Zolari." Reeves sipped her coffee, contemplating the implications. "I wonder how they'll describe us. As saviors? Threats? Both. Does it matter?" Ortega asked. "They'll know that humans answer distress calls, even from strangers. That we fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And that we prefer peace, but are very, very good at war when necessary." Reeves smiled slightly. Not a bad reputation to have among the stars. Below them, Zolari citizens had begun returning to areas of the city that had been evacuation zones during the Kraxan occupation. Children, at least, Reeves assumed they were children, darted between buildings, their skin glowing with vibrant colors. "We should get back," she said finally. "Admiral Zhao will want to begin planning our return journey." With a few Zolari ambassadors aboard, Ortega reminded her, Earth is about to have its first official alien delegation. As they turned to leave the balcony, Reeves took one last look at the alien sky. Somewhere out there, other species were learning about humanity for the first time, learning that the Deathworlders had arrived on the galactic stage. She thought about the Kraxan, about High Commander Drazik and his empire of conquest. They had withdrawn for now, but Reeves doubted that would be the end of humanity's dealings with them. And beyond the Kraxan, who knew what other species awaited discovery? Allies like the Zolari, enemies like the Kraxan, or something else entirely? Whatever awaited humanity among the stars, Earth had announced its presence in unmistakable terms. When Deathworlders answered a call for help, nothing would survive that threatened the innocent, not conquest, not tyranny, not fear itself. The galaxy would never be the same again.